What's good, leaders? Welcome back to another episode of Newer Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Kyrie Green, and today we got a very special guest with us. Me and this guest, we came in contact with each other at an event for my middle school, actually during Career Week. We were both speaking to the younger individuals, telling them a little bit about what we do, just give a game to the younger community. And he was actually surprised about my age and the stuff that I was talking about. And he was like, we were like real interested in the things that we do. We connected. And recently I was like, actually, I would love to have him come on here and talk about all the amazing things that he do. He can get game to not just y'all, but me as well. It's a lot. He got a lot of great things going on. So thank you for coming out to talk
My
with me.
man Kai, you already know, brother. My man.
Go ahead, let him know who you are and what you do, man.
Yeah, my name is Ameen Akbar. Philadelphia born and raised on the playground. Is where I spent most of my days. I'm glad you still laugh at that because the older I get, I am wondering if that notion becomes relevant.
No, it's still relevant.
But it really is the essence of my story. I grew up in the playground, Dorothy Emanuel Recreation Center uptown, and I watched people like my pop and adults like him create community. I call myself a legacy baby, not by wealth, but by the adults that poured into me. I'm a second generation community guy. And again, if it wasn't for people like my pop, I wouldn't be doing the things that I do. And I'm not here without men and adults like him. I spent about a 30-year career doing youth development work, nonprofit work, education, coaching basketball at the collegiate and the high school level. And currently I'm the chief mission officer at Philadelphia Youth Basketball. Been there about 3+ years. And we just opened an amazing facility on Wissahickon Avenue about a year ago.
Last time we were, we connected at the Career Week. That's what you were speaking about.
Yep.
You were talking about how you guys were, taking all of the right steps to get the new facility open. So how's everything been after opening it up?
It's been a lot of learning, but amazing. Like anytime we get a chance to create a facility like that, like space is at a premium in the city, and especially safe space. We got a lot of them, but like we owe it to the community to create a space that, if you're interested in basketball, great. Even if you're not interested in basketball, you know what I mean? Like, how can we create that kind of environment for young people and community members to tap in? So we learned a lot this past year, but it's been dope. We see everything from a kindergartner in there doing early enrichment camp all the way through to like really, really competitive high school age kids rocking out, getting their skills better on and off the court. We do a ton of leadership development off the court. We do a ton of career exposure off the court. And the thing that I'm most proud of is that like folks that come in the building and say it's a safe space, say they feel nurtured, say they feel welcome. And we're just trying to do that more and more and more going into year 2. We're still in summer camp right now, and the little ones are running in there. And then we got evening programming too.
Yeah. So it's crazy. I was actually involved with this program years ago through the exact same middle school that we were speaking at.
Yep.
And we played here at Temple.
Yep.
We were right on Broad Street on the top of what is that? It's like a sports facility. We were on the top of everything, and it's like a gym. And we would come here, and we would play basketball. And we actually had little programs after we played basketball games. They would talk about just like qualities that we would need like throughout life and characteristics and how we could build those things.
Yep.
And it's crazy that we met at the middle school.
Yep.
You are now on the board to help and build up this this same exact program that I was involved in. And I believe I was in about 6th grade or something like that. It was crazy. I was just speaking about that with your favorite trash man.
That's my man. Good dude. Good dude.
Great dude. I was just speaking about that with him. So last time we connected, you talked. You were mentioning your father and how he played a major role in everything that you do now. Talk about like what was the biggest influence that he had on you like today and everything that you do.
Yep, there's a lot, but to make it simple for folks that are watching this, and even some of the young folks that are hearing my voice for the first time, and even when you share this, the folks that know me well, being present, right? Being present didn't cost him money, being present didn't cost him or had to get me the latest sneaks or the latest gear, but just him being present, not just for me, but for my homies, people in the neighborhood. Like, he was there. Human beings, young people want somebody that's consistent, that's going to show up every day. And Kai, there's a lot of adults out there, and I would count you in that category. And even some of the young folks that you have on your podcast, they present, right? And he was there every day, right, with the same message. He listened to me, and also he carried himself with a respect of like honor, dignity, and you just wanted to follow him, right? And that meant a lot to me, right? It wasn't the sort of like gifts and things that that are like physical that he could provide, but it was his presence. And he was and still is such a dynamic man that, you know what I mean, he attracted all of that, for folks that had dads and for folks that didn't have dads. He was one of the neighborhood dads. He didn't do it with an ego. He did it because he was led by his faith. He was led by, just doing the right thing. And that meant a lot to me, and it propelled how I show up, or at least how I've tried to show up for young people at PYB. For young people, I spent 14 years at Youth Build Philadelphia Charter School. Okay. Shout out to the folks that are going to be watching this that were my former students. Shout out to the Build. The Build is always a part of my heart. And my father's presence impacted the way, how I showed up as a coach. He was my coach. He was coaches for everybody, and not just uptown, but in a lot of neighborhoods across Philadelphia. My father is from 24th and Berks. So like Moreland Recreation Center, now Hank Gathers, raised him. Okay. So like all of that matters. And again, he was present because the adults, and namely, men in his life, were present. My father played for John Chaney at Simon Gratz many, many moons ago. And for the young folks that are hearing this for the first time, John Chaney coached at Temple, but before he coached at Temple, he coached at Chaney State. Before he coached at Chaney State, he was at Simon Gratz High School. That's crazy. And he coached. So it was men like him that helped shape my father. And I would even say, like, most folks that are probably watching this podcast know the name Marcus Foster Field, because that's Simon Gratz football stadium. Well, Marcus Foster was the principal at Simon Gratz in the late 60s and early 70s. And he was one of the leading black male educators. And he helped change my father's life. So two men at Simon Gratz saw some leadership in my dad, and was like, my dad goes by the name of Skip, and he's like, hey Skip, you can lead in the right way, right? You in the way right now. They ain't had that language back in the 60s, but you in the way right now. But if you want to do this, then like you should be leading your class and your peers in a different way. And those two men had fundamental impacts on my life. So I say that to say, if I'm gonna be an old head that people respect, and I don't tell you the names of John Chaney and Marcus Foster, then that's my fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, we typically try to blame young people for all of the ills that's out here, but we the old heads that gotta show the way. And if we don't, that's our fault. That's not your fault. That's our fault. So anytime I'm on some of these platforms, I tell you about the person that influenced me, and then I tell you about the person that influenced me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it shows like it didn't just come from one, like, one person. That had
Kyle, we ain't just get here, bro.
It was passed down.
And you know what you're gonna do? You're going to do the same thing. You're going to talk about the people that influence you, and now you get to correct those generations. And I think that's part of our challenge sometimes in neighborhoods, is that in communities, that we don't tell that story. You know what I'm saying? We are much more gifted and talented than the stuff that they show us. And again, it's the old head's responsibility. And you're going to be somebody old head. You probably somebody old head right now. You probably somebody old head right now.
It's crazy that you say that, because I always say, like, we have a lot of talent, like, coming from the city of Philadelphia, and just like, being connected to a lot of younger individuals. Like, it's so much talent. It just, for a lot of, like you said, a lot of us, we don't have somebody that's going to show up and, be there to give us that extra push, and tell us like, all right, stay away from these things, try to, navigate over to, these things over here, they'll get you further. And for a lot of people, when they don't have that, they just go searching, like, where can I find something or somebody that's going to show up for me?
Yep.
And, for some of us, we find the wrong things.
Yep.
And it takes us down a path that we may not be wanting to go down.
Yeah, bro, I was blown away the first time I met you. I was blown away. You know what I'm saying? Like, that didn't have nothing to do with age. It didn't have nothing. I was blown away, and like, you're gonna attract what you put out, right? So it's not a mystery to me why you do the things that you do because of the first time I met you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to attract young people that's like, yo, I want to be like Kai. They may not say it, some may say it, but you're going to attract it. I was blown away by the first time I met you. And again, that's not a mistake. That's your talent. You know what I mean? We have so many young people in this city that do the same thing. We got to start telling them stories, and you do that.
Yeah, it was great. That's one reason why I really created this platform, so that we can really highlight all of the great things that are, being done by a younger individual. And it's crazy. George Lane.
That's my man, George. Shout out to George. Sound like him, George.
Big shout out
That's
to
my
George,
man, George. Solid, one of the most solid young leaders that we got.
I was blown away by the things that he was doing. When I first came in contact with him, I thought that he was older than me. When we sat there, we talked. He was like, "No, we were around the same age, bro." I'm like, "Yo, it's crazy that you're doing all of these things. You're involved.
George is amazing.
All of the things that you're involved in." I'm like, "Yo, like you guys showed me how I can, get involved in these same things because." He's doing so much for not just himself but our community as a whole. Advocating for the youth and things like that.
I met George at Sankofa. I coach high school basketball at Sankofa too, and I met George, as a middle schooler. And again, I agree. George is one of the most amazing leaders that we have in the area. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of y'all out there. Because you know why? Folks like me in this role, we used to be George.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna always be there. And now you got the platform. We got the platforms to highlight the youth and the Georgia. So
we need these type of platforms because a lot of other people I sat down, I spoke with. We talked about just like the media and how they don't really highlight too much of these great things, and they kind of just get swept under the rug. I'm like, yo, like we need to start highlighting these things. Like for George, getting the Gates scholarship, that's something
major,
that
ain't it?
You don't hear about. Like that's something that you don't hear about, and stuff like that needs to be highlighted because you have a lot of young individuals who feel like I can't do that. Like this not something I can do. And to have somebody that's from our neighborhood that has somewhat of the same upbringing as us, been through the same stuff, go out and go get that. That's like major. And that's something that needs to be highlighted and shared across every platform all over so that other young individuals can be inspired. Like, man, that's proof that I myself can go do that. And make this type of stuff happen. So big shout out to George.
George,
keep doing what you're doing, man. You influencing a lot of people, even myself. So keep doing what you're doing. Now you said your pop influenced you a lot growing up. While growing up, like, did you automatically know, like, man, I'm gonna be involved in my community, or was it like a time where you were thinking about doing something else?
Automatically knew. I knew that from the beginning, and I know that's not everybody's story, and so I'm careful about like how I share my story because I want to say these things in a way that people that are listening can connect to it. It's okay if you don't know what you want to do. It's okay, right? On the opposite end, for me, I knew it from the very beginning. I knew why Allah put me on this earth, and the various stops I had along the way were just titles. I'm a vehicle for what I think, Allah wants me to do, right? And I've known that from the very beginning. Didn't know exactly, you know what I'm saying? So I want to be careful. I didn't know exactly how that was going to look, but grew up playing basketball, have always been in a leadership position. I was super shy growing up, super shy. People are like, I mean, no way, you was super shy. Super shy up until around 7th or 8th grade, where I became in like leadership positions. I was always a point guard. We can debate how good or bad I was, but like always a point guard. So that meant like I had to be a leader for other folks. I had to be an extension of a coach on the court. So like, yeah, I knew, didn't know the titles, but the titles were not important because I grew up in an environment. The reason why I say like I'm a legacy baby is I equated to like basketball or folks whose, young people whose kids played in the NBA or athletes. There was just something I felt that was in my DNA, because I went to every community event with my pop. I went to work with him. At an early age, so I saw it. So that's what I was raised in. That was the soil I was raised in, and there were so many positive things that happened in our playground and schoolyard and so many adults like him who worked full-time jobs but came home after work
Mhm.
and just made basketball programs, youth football programs, track programs,
Mhm.
and all of that was happening. You know what I mean? In a time where I was influenced by that, and at the same time, I was influenced by folks that so dope. I was influenced by folks that was in the street, and I think all of that mattered.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it as like like these opposing things, but like all of this helped shape who I was. And again, I think at my core, I always knew sort of like my North Star. I always knew that, like, man, at your core, I mean, is something pure. In the moments that I went to the left of that,
Mhm.
like, something was calling me back. Allah was calling me back to balance,
Yeah.
right? Anytime I ever thought the work that I did was about me, I got called back to balance because this ain't about me. But to answer your question, like, yes, I knew from the very beginning, um, at least a general reason why I'm on this earth,
Mhm.
and to sort of like serve. I don't necessarily say like give back, which
Mhm.
I know the phrase give back. This is just a part of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like breathing. It's like living, and then
It's natural.
yeah, it's natural. But I think it was always a part of who I am because it was the
Mhm.
soil that I was raised in.
Yeah, it's crazy that you talked about, being influenced by people that, so dope and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Like growing up, I grew up, near Hattie's 50, all around that
Mm-hmm.
area. And I actually had like some of my old heads, they were indulging in the same activities, but their biggest thing with me was like keep me away from that stuff. Like, yeah, we play football with each other, all that
Mm-hmm.
type of stuff. But when it's time for them to go do what they do, yo, step over here,
Mm-hmm.
you feel me? I'll be right back. They tried to keep me away from these things, telling me, yo, stay in sports, keep your grades up. And even like that right there, that's something that's needed. Like now you got a lot of our old heads that's like
Mm-hmm.
not doing that. They're more so like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're showing us the way of how to do that instead of
Yep.
saying no, like even though this is what I'm doing, I want you to stay away from this and take a different route.
Yep.
And what you doing, you're actually doing that same thing. Like, even though you didn't have that upbringing, you're like, yo, this is what you need to do. Like I was influenced by this stuff. This is, what I've saw.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you should be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to take this route.
Yeah.
Um
For sure. For
so
sure.
with that new facility that you guys opened up, congratulations on that. What has been like? Was there any challenges while going through the process of getting a new facility?
Yeah. PYB's been around for about 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
To your point, like, you were one of the participants from Belmont.
Yeah.
Like, we'd always been in middle schools, but, getting a building, comes with its challenges, like
Mm-hmm.
delays in construction, like getting resources to pay for something that big that the
Mm-hmm.
city absolutely deserves.
Yeah.
You don't got to go outside the city limits to have a facility that big.
Mm-hmm.
And then, creating the kind of trust that young people will want to come into the building. Like, just because you build it don't mean that people trust it.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for, organizations to continue to work at, like, why is this a safe space for me?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this a trusting space? And then there's pouring into the adults and coaches that work there, and I think that's important. Like, as somebody who's worked with young people, I got to be worthy of being in your presence. And a lot of times we don't think like that as adults. It's like, just because I say it, Kyle, you supposed to listen,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's never been my philosophy. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna say it a certain way, and then you're gonna attract to it. But like, I gotta present myself in a way that young people want to hear the message, that young people want to come because they're attracted to the message, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, some of the challenge is in that, like, how do we build adults to think that way? Doesn't mean I lose authority or lose power, but like, I gotta have a message. I am competing with all of the things that young people like you and younger than you are ingesting. So what am I saying that's gonna make the difference?
Yeah.
And I gotta think about what that is. And I say that to say, in respect to your question about what are the challenges. I look at challenges as opportunities, right? And now that we've gotten the building up, it's like getting the right kind of program that young people want to come, partnering with the right people that we can have events that young people want to come to. And again, challenge is relative, but like there's an opportunity for us to continue to do more and go to deeper layers so we can reach the right kind of communities and right kind of people. Are some of those things. So yeah, building, the delayed construction,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? In there, it just ain't easy to put up a building.
Yeah, no, it's
Prices
definitely not.
prices go up. Yesterday's
Yeah.
price ain't today's price.
Not at all.
At
Especially not
all, at all. And then
Yeah.
like once the building is up, then creating the right kind of programming for young people that want to come to a safe space, young people that want to hoop, and even young people that, you know what I mean, is like, I don't really like hoop, but like what else y'all got? Like
Yeah.
we do coding workshops, we do social media workshops, and we're starting to add, you know what I mean, a little bit more.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was just about to ask you, like, for the younger individuals who aren't familiar with PYB,
Yep.
like, what are some of the things that you guys offer
Yep.
other than like basketball?
Basketball.
Because people hear that name and think about, oh, this is just like something centered around
Yeah,
basketball.
yep.
Like you mentioned, you guys have other programs outside of that.
Yep.
So when you guys have, like cohorts with the younger individuals who come in the door for the first ever time, y'all not familiar if they know about you guys or not. What is like your guys' main goal? Like even if they don't, get the fundamentals of basketball, what is you guys' main goal with the younger individuals to come to?
Main goal, simply put, is how do we use the game just as a carrot? Right, just as an attractor. How do we use the building just as a carrot? Like, oh, that looks nice, a nice shiny thing. Let me go in, and then how to deliver opportunities for young people to self-determine. And what I mean by self-determine is you get to choose your own path, right, based on all of the resources that we have available. Right, if that's basketball on the court, hopefully you come out a better basketball player. Right, knowing that there are a number of opportunities that the game of basketball can lead to. I ain't here without that round ball. You know what I'm saying? I play a high school, I play a little junior college Division III ball, but like I ain't here without the round ball and the lessons that were learned around basketball. So cool if you see yourself as a basketball player and we introduce other things to you, right? Careers, like for the first time, you get introduced to people that are in careers that might interest you. You get to hear speakers. You get to like explore like what that is. Just a way of how you think and behave. I mean, we call it social emotional learning, but this is a fancy title with being like, what are the things that you do well? What are the things that you challenge by? And how do you manage that? Right? It's a heavy off the court component, right? What are you good at? What are you confident in? When you are challenged or struggle with something, how we help you manage those things, if folks are entrepreneurs like yourself, we have an entrepreneurship academy in 2 different versions. One is like a little shorter Shark Tank. Like if you kind of establish, you compete in like the Shark Tank style, and then the winner gets $10,000 seed money. That's attractive to young people. You all are a lot different than my generation because you've been forced to think outside of the traditional box. Outside of the go to a 9 to 5. Like you guys are way more creative than I think my generation is. So like we create a platform for that in the Shark Tank style. And then in the other side of the Entrepreneurship Academy, we do a longer program for folks that just have an idea about a business and want to help grow that a little bit, learn a little bit more about business, learn a little bit more about entrepreneurship. And this will be our 5th cohort coming up. And the first 4 cohorts, I don't think any of those young people touched the basketball. So we call those workshops that don't have nothing to do with basketball, and those young people can be a part of. We partner with Beyond the Bars to do music production. Shout out to Beyond the Bars, a really quality program.
Yeah, I've been seeing a couple.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Yep, the Dash program is a part of what we're doing in the summertime. We do a media, a sort of like media and content development. Everything from photography to production for young people this summer. We also embedded in all of our programmings that if they're basketball related, you get financial literacy as a part of that. You get solid mentors and you get career development. And then there's the other things that we're growing, alongside of that. There's some coding stuff that we've done before. So in the first year, we kind of threw everything at the board, right? And I think the next part is, and again, your platform will help us get the word out a little bit more, is that, we're doing basketball in the center and we're doing things that don't have anything to do with basketball. And at the same time, if you hoop, basketball players are more than basketball players. You have other interests besides just playing basketball too. And that's also co-ed. It's just not limited to guys. Is limited to our young sisters. I mean, we have a ton of young sisters participating in the program too. And there's another layer that I'll add is that you have a voice and you think you're a leader. There's a place, for you in our facility as well.
Yeah, so you guys have a lot of different things outside of basketball that
Yep.
young individuals can come in,
Yep.
learn about, or if they, have, just enough about something,
Yep.
they can come in and take it to the next level.
Yep.
So what's some advice that you can give to like a young individual that's, trying to navigate to, figure out what it is that they want to do, what they like, if they like something, if they don't. What's some advice that you could give to them to help them figure out, learn a bit more about themselves?
Yeah, Kai, this is a great question. I'm gonna try not to be preachy, youngin. And at the same time, I'm gonna try to like be as real as possible. Every young person, every person has dreams, right? Has things that they want to be, but sometimes the environment is not right for those dreams to come to life, right? And sometimes young people are in environments where like they don't even know the first step to get out of the environment. Sometimes you can't, right? So I'm saying the environment is important, right? And there are people that are watching this that you might not be in the right environment. There is somebody that has tapped into you that is doing the right thing. You got to be around them, right? Sometimes in schools, sometimes in rec centers, just a thorough old head that like he said what's up to you, and you probably should step out of your comfort zone and ask him what he do, right? Take the initiative to go do that, right? Because then you're changing your environment, especially if your environment ain't right for your dreams to come in there. Second thing is what I'll say what young people should be doing is change the algorithm in your phone, right? If you watching this podcast, like this joint 3-4 times, comment under it, because the algorithm is literally changing your brain. And if we flooded our brain with information like this, your world of possibilities will grow, right? And again, if there were more of these podcasts and highlighting the latest shooting, and again, that information is important too. And no knock on that's happening. But if we flooded our algorithms with this, the ideas would tend to flow a little bit better. There's a third thing, that I'll add, in there as well. If you can't change your circumstance and who you are around, I guarantee you that in your day-to-day actions and your day-to-day schooling, there's somebody in that building that's doing the right thing, right? There's somebody in a program that that's one of your peers that's in a program that it takes just as much courage to be like, damn, Kyle, what you getting into, bro? I like what you got going on. Same courage that it takes to like defend yourself in the street is the same skill set to be like, damn, let me come out of my comfort zone. Kyle, like what you got going on? Seems like you got a good wave right now. Let me get into that. Like that's the balance. But like what I'm trying to suggest to people is like there's internal work that you got to do first, right? To help explore those dreams. And then the last thing I'll say is, like tap into programs like us. There are plenty of programs that are out there that are doing stuff. Shout out to Ricky and Nomo. Big shout out. There's a lot of people that are doing good programs that I've seen help young people change lives and explore. And just because you don't get it right away at this age is about exploration, and again, sometimes people need gigs and need works. There's a lot of internships. There's a lot of people that are doing paid work while you try to explore too. And find yourself a couple of sturdy old heads, right? And what I mean by that is they ain't your old head if y'all go to the same school. I had a young boy tell me, this was a couple years ago, younger probably was like 13 and he was like his old head 16. I said, y'all got the same fifth period lunch. That can't be old head. What we talking about?
That's crazy.
I was 16, my old heads was like 30.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you got some sturdy old heads out there that's going to show you the right way in the blueprint. You don't build blueprints on houses with mistakes. You build it with what people did before you and you improve upon it. There are people out here with the blueprint. right? To be able to help you explore what you get. I got a ton of other messages for young people out there, but like that those are the 5 or 6 things that, like, again, you got to change the environment or enhance the environment you in, and there are people around you that you probably don't know that are telling you the right thing.
Yeah, I definitely find y'all some sturdy old heads.
Yeah.
Like the old heads in my life, like honestly, they play a major role, like a major role. Like even though it's some individuals who like a little bit older than me, that they play a major role, but like the old heads, like who already have been through a majority of the stuff that
Mm-hmm.
I may deal with now, they already know. Like, listen, they be like, youngin, like, yo, you need to. This is what you need to do. Like, I don't already dipped and dabbed in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's what you need to do. Like, honestly,
Yep.
find us a sturdy old head.
And here's my challenge for the old heads too. Like I said before in this, like, this is our responsibility. When you go tell young people like Kai, don't do this, do this, you cannot be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. I ain't talking to the young people out here, I'm talking to people like myself. You cannot be a hypocrite. I can't tell you, Kai, don't do this, and then you go see me do the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you want to be somebody old head, you got to be worthy of being somebody old head. And then you got to model what that behavior is. And again, I think sometimes this ain't about checking, this ain't about ego. And I'm not even saying I always had a right answer. But man, I got to do the work of myself first to know that anytime I'm in the presence of a young person, I'm a model what's best. Right? And I was ordained to model what's best. You know what I'm saying? And again, when you say like, did you know this? Yeah, I knew this from the very beginning, because I always felt like it was a command from Allah to be this way. And again, I'm not suggesting I'm perfect. I'm not, right? But the moment that I haven't showed up for a young person or community, I got to go do this. I got to go do the reflection. Like, damn, what was that about? You know what I mean? Like, your presence, they didn't deserve that presence because you made that about you, or you wasn't in the right space. Then get back to center so you can be worthy of being around young people. And to me, that's the work that I do over and over and over again, so I can be somebody so I can be somebody old head. And I'm a father of 3 daughters.
Yeah, you spoke about that when we met. You said, aside from just being involved with the youth, you also are a father. So with all of the things that you pour out into the community, how does that influence, like, once you're done with that, just being a father?
Yep. It goes hand in hand. And again, I use my father for an example. Like, I have no excuse to not be a good dad, right? So how I show up for my children is how my dad showed up for me. It's how I showed up for young people at Youth Build. That's, like, to me, that doesn't change. Like, because I care about my daughters, I got the same level of care for people that aren't my children. Because again, that's how the villages get strong. I talk about my dad a lot, but the village raised me too. You know what I mean? And they looked at me just like they would look at their other children. So when it comes to my daughters, I have a responsibility as a father, to be accountable to them, and also create an environment. Let's go back to soil again. Create an environment, soil for them to thrive, and then also check in when things aren't going well. So these same conversations I had with you, they may roll their eyes at me now. I got an 18-year-old, 13-year-old, and a 6-year-old. They may roll their eyes at me sometimes, but like, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same message. I hug them just like I hug young people. I hug you just like I hug them. That's never changed. My father would be intentional, right? And sometimes we don't talk about this specifically as men. My father would be intentional about hugging me in public spaces, right? I'm intentional about how I show love to my children. I'm intentional about how I show love to young people. I'm intentional about how I show love to my coworkers, right? Because I think it's important for young people to see adults embrace, like community members embrace. I think it's important for young people to see adults embrace young people and embrace their children. My pop used to always also run a men's group at Youth Build. And again, it was authentic, but he would be purposeful in letting students see, and some of our young men, us embrace in the hallway. My dad hugged me every day, right? And I don't say that to say, I say that from I don't say that to say like that everybody has that story, But because everybody doesn't have that story, I'm obligated to give that out, whether you got a pop or not.
Yeah.
I'm obligated to do that. If I had it, then everybody else should get it. I was the only child, Kai, right? And very rarely did my folks raise me to have only child vibes, right? Like, I mean, you are not to be selfish. If we give it to you, you got to give it back to the rest of the world. And again, I think that's a part of my core. And y'all listen, youngers, y'all listen to this podcast. Oh, I'm not afraid to say that I love you. I'm not afraid to say that I love my children, right? Whether we get to that, and for you to understand that it's pure, that takes time. That's relationship building. It's people like me and other adults that's invested in that time. I got all day. I got all day till the clock stop on this life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm never going to apologize for that. I'm never going to be like, Kyle, I love you, youngin. Whether even if it's at a surface layer, right? We got to say that. Yeah. And we got to act that way and believe that way. I'm not saying that's the answer to everything, but it's how I show up.
Yeah. So I want to do a segment or something with you, right? Something called Leaders Toolkit.
Okay.
So I want you to give the leaders 3 things that you feel like they'll need in their toolkit to be successful or see growth with the things that they're doing.
Yeah.
It could be a quote to live by,
I got a couple of them,
book to read,
a
mentor, something like a podcast to watch, whatever. Just give the leaders 3 things you feel like they'll need in their toolkit.
I got a couple of things, right? I'm gonna pair these 2 quotes together. Don't do it for the likes. Do it because it's right. Don't do it for the views. Do it because it's the truth. Right? We can get caught up in likes. We can get caught up in comments. Right? But leadership is not a comment. It's not a view. Right? Because all it takes is the one view to change somebody's life. It's to put them on a trajectory. And more often than not, it's the folks that won't ever view or ever comment that are hearing that message loud and clear. Right? And you young leaders, you have an internal truth about you because you consider yourself a leader that's already in you. Just continue to follow that. We got internal instincts. Continue to follow that. If you're watching this podcast, I promise you are a leader. Otherwise, you wouldn't have tuned in, or otherwise your algorithm wouldn't have tapped into it.
Definitely.
And this is the thing that I'm here to encourage that part. Again, don't do it for the likes. Do it because it's right. Don't do it for the views. Do it because it's the truth. Right? And that'll continue to manifest. Next thing I'll tell you just around like leadership is that leadership is not a title. It's an action. It should be a verb, right? It's the constant doing if you consider yourself a leader. There is no small task. There is no big task. It's just a task, right? It's just a thing to do. So don't minimize your actions as a leader. And then don't let your head get too big around being a leader, because again, those things can consume. So leadership is not a title. I don't have to be anointed as a leader to go do. And I think about all of those folks that help us get here. Do your history on a lot of the civil rights stuff that was happening in the 50s and 60s. Some of those young folks were in their early 20s. Some of those folks were teenagers, right? And those were culture shifts. And it's a lot of you out there right now that don't know you're a part of a culture shift. Right? They're part of a culture shift. Nobody looked up and was like, oh, I'm a civil rights leader. You know what I'm saying? They were just doing it because it's like, yo, we want to vote. We want what's ours. And y'all got that. I promise you, this generation, y'all got that spirit. Because sometimes the crash out, y'all got the spirit in you just crashing out about the wrong stuff. Right? I would venture to say, this is not blasphemy, I would venture to say that if you was in the civil rights in the 50s and 60s, you was willing to crash out for what you believed in. Y'all got the same spirit. We just got to channel it to the right crash out, right? Because y'all owed something, right? We old now. You know, you all are taking that. And again, leaders, it's not a title, it's an action. You got that in you. And the third thing I'll say is, I've said this to young people, a lot, like leadership is not about authority. If you're trustworthy, people will follow you. If you're trustworthy, right? What are those things that you do that attracts the truth? And you got them in you. I don't care if you're on demon time right now. You got a truth in you that you don't know, right? Because people follow you too. People follow folks on Demon Time.
Yeah.
So you got something in there, right? But there's something that's got to speak to you about like wanting to do the right thing and being a part of the truth. And again, leadership is not about authority. How can you create being trustworthy that folks are going to, going to follow you? So those are my three, you know what I mean, like sort of quotes. But I'll add this. This is for just everybody speaking. It's for the adults too. That I'm gonna share this joint everywhere, right?
Okay.
It's for the adults listening too, right? And I was always taught the teacher will appear when the student is ready. It's my obligation to keep teaching.
Okay.
So even if you don't hear me today, Kai, I'm gonna keep teaching.
Yeah.
And it's your responsibility to keep learning. Even if you don't understand right now, keep learning. So again, the teacher will appear when the student is ready. Old heads, you got to keep teaching. And for young folks, you got to keep learning.
Definitely gotta keep teaching and keep learning. I love to tell everybody, like, I will always remain a student.
Yeah.
Like, always. I'm open to learning from anybody. I love to talk to people. I sit down and talk just about
that's what blew me away about you, young. Yeah, for sure.
Sit down and talk about
for sure
with just about anybody, just as a way to learn. Like, and what you do, what you do for a living.
Yeah.
What got you here? Who motivated you? Anything like that. Like, I feel like all of that, everybody who I've ever came in contact with, had a conversation with, all of those people has played a role in getting me to where I am today, and had, me developing the mindset that I have today. Just talking to people has gotten me really far.
And name those folks the next time you talk to a youngin', so that even if they don't know them, even if they don't care that they know them, you name them folks. Again, that's how we have been able to survive as a people, because we say the names of our ancestors. I ain't even trying to make this about no rites of passage or something corny that you're like, all right, old head, what you talk about? It's literally what I just did by naming my pop John Chaney and Marcus Foster. You're going to know who the people that helped somebody to influence me. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. We got name all of the people that has played a role in your life is important. You never know. Somebody you talking to, you name those people, they may be able to go do a quick Google search, fact check, and they may be able to influence the next person. So I always talk about one of the biggest influential people that has played a major part in my life is my brother who I lost, which is the main reason why I started doing all of that, which is Sakari Johnson. Like, he left me with so much, like all the late night conversations in our shop, him just telling me like, yo, stay on top of everything. Like, his biggest thing was school. Stay on top of school. Like, whatever you do, make sure you stay on top of that. Like, I don't care. Stay on top of that and stay away from all the negativity. Stay away from the negativity. Focus on, just doing the positive stuff, going out to try new things, experience new things, figure out what you like. Like, that's one thing that he was big on with me was like, you young, you may not know what you want to do in the next 10 years, 15 years. Just try things. Go try being a plumber. Go try these things, or talk to somebody that is in these career spaces to see if you may be interested in it. But just try new things and figure out what you like. But he was like, he even to this day, like, it's this one interview that he did before his passing. And he just talked about, just life in general, like how he lives his life, what's things that motivates him, what keeps him going. And that's something that I listen to often, just to hear his voice, to have that motivation, just keep going, keep going. Like, he played a major role in my life and helping me, get all of these things started so I can push all of this stuff out that he poured into me back into the community.
I love to hear that. And you keeping his name and legacy alive.
Yeah, definitely. It's great. The nonprofit that I was just speaking about is named after him. His nickname was Sakasso, so I took just the Casso part. And gave the nonprofit the name the Casso Foundation, which is an acronym for creating a stronger opportunity.
That's love.
So all of that is a way to keep like all of the values and the messages that he poured into me, keep pouring those out into other young individuals. Because people like him, even though we weren't too far in age, people like him is needed in our community. He was somebody who I looked up to. He wasn't too old, wasn't too young. He was like, had a few years on, but he was doing a lot of positive things and trying to go out and reach other young individuals to, place them, in an environment, a space that's loving, fit like it just felt like family. And he just tried to create a safe space, and that's something that I'm
Yeah.
big on. Trying to help other young individuals have a safe space, because for a lot of young individuals, their safe space can be home,
Yep.
school, a friend's house. And having a safe space is just, it's important. Like for me, going to the store was something that I look forward to every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Every day was a safe space. I got to see all my family.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just like, it just felt, it was, I don't even know how to describe the feeling, but it was just somewhere that I wanted to be, and I
Yeah.
look forward to being, just because I know, like, man, I go in here, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to have a smile on my face,
Right.
I'm
Right.
going
Right.
to laugh, like,
Right.
I'm going to be able to talk to people and things like that. It was just a loving environment, and it got me away from all of the stuff that was
Yeah.
going on in my community. Like, if you ask me, being in that space, I wasn't even thinking about all of the stuff that was going
Going
on
on.
outside. It was just, I
Yeah.
was here. Like,
Yeah.
this is where I wanted to
Yeah.
be, and that's
Yeah.
like something that's important.
I appreciate, like I know I said earlier, like your
Mhm.
old head gotta be old, and what you're describing is like, if somebody's a couple of years older than you, then be a
Yeah,
sturdy big bro.
yeah, that's exactly
You
what
know
it
what I mean? We
was.
do a lot of bros out here. We do a
Yeah.
lot of bros.
Mm-hmm.
Be worthy of being somebody big bro. It's
Mm-hmm.
the same thing I said about be worthy of being somebody old head.
Yeah.
But if y'all in the same school and you big bro, or
Mm-hmm.
somebody's right outside and like maybe 5 or 6 years older than you,
Mm-hmm.
then be a sturdy big bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna be big bro,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, that's needed. So I want to ask, what's some advice that you could, give to your high school self, like your senior year,
Yeah.
before you made that transition
Yeah.
to the real world?
Yeah.
What's some advice that you could give to, your senior year self?
Yeah. I think for me, like run your own race. You know what I mean? Basketball may or may not be a part of that. You know what I mean? Like I left high school and I went to Penn State Abington and I played a little bit of basketball. But like run your own race. I think, like a lot of 18-year-olds, it was like my identity was still forming. I knew what I wanted to do and be, but my identity was still forming. And there were moments in there that like there was self-doubt. There were moments in there that like how I'm gonna be on my own. There were moments in there, that were like, yeah, I would say, some self doubt in there. No matter how confident somebody presents themselves, there were moments of like you question. So I would say to my younger self is like run your own race, um, and also continue to keep like faith at your core,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because those are the things that will keep you balanced
Yeah.
in a world where like everything is coming at you. Or the two things that I would tell, what I mean, the two things that I would tell my younger self, like I run your own race, and continue to keep faith at core. It's interesting. We're talking about leadership. I will also challenge myself now that I know what I am. After I'll be 48 next month, so I'm old. I'm old.
Nah, you
I'm
listen. You
old.
look good
I
for your
graduated high
age,
school in
man. Look real
1995, bro.
young.
I graduated high school in 1995. Y'all wasn't even born.
Definitely
Everybody that's gonna watch this joint wasn't even
wasn't born
born.
or thought.
Unless I share this on my, I know some of y'all parents and grandparents.
Yeah,
And some of your great grandparents probably know my pop.
yeah, that's
Whoever watched
crazy.
this
I
joint,
wasn't
that's
born or
crazy,
thought
right?
of
What he thought of.
it.
I will also say, like the young leader that was emerging, like go even harder being a leader, because folks is following you and you don't even dig it.
I ain't gonna lie. That's
Yeah,
something that
yeah,
just resonated
yep,
with me. That's something that inspired me to keep going.
yep.
Cause I had a community event, my first ever community event.
Mm-hmm.
I was still in high school at that point. It was called Reach One Teach One.
That's why y'all don't. We
Um,
ain't, we ain't, we ain't doing that like that. I wish we was doing stuff like that.
yeah,
We
I
was
had
waiting for
my
the old
first
heads to do
yeah I
it.
had my first community event in high school. It was called Reach One Teach One. And for my speech that I gave, I was just telling everybody, I'm like, man, like, I hear from people that's my age, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit older than me, just like round, like all over, that I like, they look at me as like inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for the people that's, my age or even older than me. Like, I've had people that's older than me, like, yo, like, you inspired me to do,
Yeah,
like, navigate over to doing this, or reaching this level. And it's like, man, like,
yeah.
I would have thought it would have been the other
Other
way
way around.
around. But
Yeah,
I tell other young individuals, like, yo, if you know you want to do, like, something bigger than what everybody in your community is doing, do that and like go full throttle with it
Mm-hmm.
because you never know your closest homie may be looking up to you.
I would venture to say he is.
Like
She is.
you never know. Like somebody that you are around on a day-to-day basis, y'all got mad love for
Yep.
each other. You never know how much of an influence that you are
Yep.
on them. And I hear from my homies tell me all the time, like, yo, like all the stuff that you're doing influences,
Yeah.
influences me to go out and do even greater things or continue to do what I'm doing.
And they're gonna big you up.
Yeah.
They're going. That's one thing I didn't. I'm glad you mentioned your homies.
Mm-hmm.
I had such a thorough crew of brothers. Being the only child, like these was folks from my block. Like they my friends. These the first people I met. Like we just came outside together. We don't even know
Yeah.
when we met, right? You know what I mean? You know, you got them, and they still my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
We still in the same group chat. We still at everybody functions. We the uncles to everybody's child.
Mm-hmm.
And no, shout out to my guys. My success was their success. Their success was my success. And they picked me up and was like, go run.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm appreciative of them brothers. You know what I mean? Right now. Shout out to my guys.
Yeah,
If
shout
y'all
out to
see this, y'all
y'all,
gonna know.
man.
Y'all gonna they some sturdy old heads too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I talk about that as well. Just surrounding yourself with
Yep.
people that's gonna like y'all gonna build each other up.
Yep.
Like y'all gonna build each other up. It's crazy. I was watching a clip of Wallow on Rod's
Mm-hmm.
podcast, not his podcast, but Rod's stream,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just talking about surrounding yourself with people and y'all just falling under one like a collective,
Yeah.
and y'all help build each other up. So one person do this, another one do that. Like all of that is that's something that can help everybody build. Everybody has dreams and wants to do something. And if everybody was to, come together, especially like a group of individuals, y'all friends, whatever, y'all
Yeah.
brother, whatever, y'all come under a collective and y'all help build each other up, that could be a start to something big.
I agree.
Like that could be a start to something big.
I agree.
I talked about in another episode, just like how we have like in our communities, you don't see too many like people of like coming from our background that has things like a corner store or anything like that. But we have these other individuals come in our community, build these establishments, but don't pour into our community. Yet we pour into them.
Yeah.
But why has
Sure.
no one thought about a group of people? Let's put up $1,500.
Yeah.
5, 6 of us put up this bread, go get a building. Now we got a corner store where we give back to the the youngest that come into the corner store. We giving out free water, things like that. Like stuff like that is stuff that can not just help individuals build, but communities build each other. Like we can build our community up.
And somebody does a dope program. Just give a shout out is By the Hood. My man Jimmy Williams, who I went to elementary school with. He does a camp every year, summer, and he teaches like young people like how to buy real estate with that same vision in mind. So shout out to Jimmy if this ever reaches Jimmy. He's one of the programs that y'all should tap into because he's doing a little bit of like, all right, you got the idea. Let me teach you the mechanics as a young person early in your career to how to buy property, how to do those things you want, how to invest with other people. And again, if this is about changing the algorithm that folks are gonna watch, just shout out to Jimmy and By the Hood.
Yeah.
Him and his partners do a lot of good work like that and teaching young folks how to do that kind of stuff.
And it's crazy you talk about the algorithm thing, right? Because I was watching this video on TikTok and it was talking about how the things that we like, comment, or we like sit and watch, the algorithm tends to feed us more of that, right? So the person was just saying like just try something. And they were like, go on, like they had, hashtags. They got a bunch of videos like of that one thing, right? So it's this hashtag on there. It's like a sad TikTok, right? So the person was like, listen, if something pop up that's like something that's pertaining to being like sad or down, like just like that, watch it and just watch how much more of those videos
for sure, 100%.
come in after as you just keep scrolling.
100%.
So I tried it and I realized like after about 2 to 3 minutes of me like indulging in that content, that's all that was coming
up. It's done. It's over. It's over.
That's all that was coming up. And then I end up doing the opposite of that. All the motivation TikTok, all that stuff, just liking all that stuff. And now I realize like now that's all that comes up. Motivational videos and all of that type of stuff. Even the TikTok for the podcast. Only thing that pops up is motivational video, and I repost all of it. And it feeds me more of that content. We utilize social media a lot.
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
lot. And the more we feed ourselves, the more we feed our brains this negative stuff from
Yeah.
social media, the more it's like it's
Yeah.
just gonna keep coming. And
Yeah.
I watched a documentary on in high school. I once again I can't remember the name, and I
Mhm.
just looked it up. Oh wait, it's called The Social Dilemma. That's
Social
what it's called.
dilemma, boy. That's heavy.
Social.
That's a heavy
So
documentary.
yo, I
Yeah,
watched it.
100%.
So I watched that in high school, The Social Dilemma, and it just talked about how like your phone,
Mm-hmm.
all of these platforms is an algorithm to it, and is made to literally disconnect you from one thing
Mm-hmm.
and connect you to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I mentioned it on another episode, I talked about how we have our phones in the room and we may be talking about something. And next thing you know, you pick
Oh,
up
he
your
pick up on that,
phone.
that microphone real.
You pick
Uh-huh.
up your phone, and the first thing that come up is exactly what you talking
Uh-huh.
about. Like it's crazy. All of these things are meant to feed us more of what it is that we want to see.
Uh-huh.
So if we are, feeding ourselves negativity, or watching negative videos for a long time, is going to think, oh, this is what this person wants to
Yep.
see. Let me feed this person more of this.
Yep.
Like, so social media, if you go and use it, utilize it the correct way. Utilize it in a way that's going to help you and not hurt you. Because
Yeah.
social media can be a tool that can help you, but it can also be something that can hurt you as
Yeah,
well.
for
Like
sure.
it
That's why
goes
y'all
hand
should be
in hand.
reposting everything my man Kai got going on. Not even this episode, but like all of them
Yeah,
jokes.
all of that stuff to help feed
Yeah.
like just more positive content, and you never know, you might be able to find a mentor that can help get you through a time that you're going through, or just push you to do better things and
Yep.
greater things. I want to you
I do.
read what's like 2 to 3 books that you've read that has helped shift your mindset or change like your perspectives on something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a couple of different places. I
Mm-hmm.
just might throw you for a left. Mostly an audiobook guy.
Mm-hmm.
I one book that was at the top of my mind was a book um, called Inner Engineering, and it was a yogi's guide to I forget the yogi's guide to something, but I like yoga practices, even though I don't do yoga as much as I want to. But essentially, the book was really deep, but the audio book was a little bit easier. And essentially, it was helping me tap into my inner self, right? How I process, how I make meaning, of the world, but through a self lens, right? Without all of the social constructs, without all of the gender, race constructs, but me just as a human being. How do I tap into that world that I think is important. The next book is, I don't know if your audience will resonate with this, but just because of the work that I've just been a part of, um, um, how to be an anti-racist, Ibrahim's book, and like, you know what I mean, like this construct that we're here in America that's heavy laden in race, and because I've done sort of trainings for adults around diversity, equity, inclusion, and being like in this term being anti-racist, and really like how do we how do we be honest in America about where race stands,
Yeah.
right? And how do we center the voices of like black and brown folks in a non-discriminatory way. Ibrahim Kendi's book is important. I'm trying to think the third one for me. What resonates with me? Let me think about that one, Kai. It'll come to me. If I picked up my phone, I'll tell you the audio
Yeah,
book.
because I
Uh,
speak about this one book I've read a few times that I'm currently reading
yeah.
right now. It's called the seven habits of highly effective
Oh yeah, I've seen that one
people.
before. Yeah.
That book,
Yeah.
I feel like, I recommended it to my high school. I said that I feel like all juniors
Yeah.
should read that book,
Yeah.
because junior year I feel like is when you start to sort of make a shift for like, all right, I'm starting to prepare myself for the next step of life, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still also figuring out what characteristics and habits that I should be, building now
Yeah.
to be prepared. And that book right there talks about just the fundamentals I feel like people would need
Yeah.
to have themselves ready for any next step in life. Like I really would recommend anybody to read it, no matter
Yeah,
what age. But I feel like junior year is something that is like they should be reading. But
that's dope.
that book talks about like a bunch of stuff. Like the first habit was just it talks about being proactive,
Mm-hmm.
being proactive instead of reactive. And then the second one was talking about beginning with the end in mind and just how they go hand in hand. Like understanding being proactive instead of reactive is having an understanding that I'm in control of my life. Like
Yeah,
I'm in control of which direction my life goes in. Nobody else is to blame for it. Nothing else is to blame for it. Nobody can make me do something,
yeah,
force me to do something. I'm in control of this. And the second habit, it ties into that by saying, all right, now that I have an understanding that I'm in control, which direction is it that I want to go in?
yeah.
Which path do I want to go down? And what am I doing now? How can that affect me later on down the line?
Yeah.
Because people don't understand. You do things now, you may not, feel the repercussions of it now, but later on down the line, the habits that you carry out on a day-to-day
Yep.
basis can affect you later on down the line.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy. I watched a clip of someone talking on a podcast, and he was saying he didn't realize that everything has a delay. Like he talked about going to the gym.
Oh,
When you
sure.
go to the gym, you don't just see results after
I was in the gym this morning.
you don't
I
just see
ain't
the results
right.
after the first day in the gym, first week
Sure.
in the gym.
Sure.
You won't start seeing results till months later down the line. So he was like, think about where you are right now,
Yep.
and what's going on in your life right now. He's like, ask yourself, 3 to 4 months ago, what were you doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, when you think about that, that may be the reason that you are in the exact place that you are right now.
And Kai, that's the reason why, you know, I'm glad you said that. And that's the reason why, see, that's the counter to me to the algorithm, because we get things so instantly, in this moment. It just feels like the world is spinning faster than that.
Like instant gratification.
Yeah, it's the gratification. And I think the beauty, at least about me, why I said I always know what I wanted to do, is that like faith in Islam helped me to see like there's this world and then there's the afterlife. And like, I mean, the things that you're doing is preparing you for whatever life after this physical body is being. And I think that always brings me back to center and a level of humility. And like, yo, this is not about me. I'm not even in it to change a life. You know what I mean? I'm in it to be an example, right? Knowing that like the gratification is not right now. I don't even seek the gratification right now. Like clearly are there benefits and joys and reward? Absolutely. Like you're supposed to get that abundance. But I think in that moment, to your point, I'm glad you said that, especially for young folks that are listening that have to compete with like, I need it right now. I need it microwaved. Is that sure the work that you put in, will eventually continue to pay off in that same example as the gym. And one of my favorite quotes that I've used, for the last 20, 25 years is that, a society grows great when old men and women plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in, right? I'm gonna say that again. A society grows great when old men and women plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. I'm planting the tree. I'm not even thinking about the tree that grows. I'm obligated to keep planting it. Just like I said, I'm obligated to keep teaching. What comes from that, the fruits of that are going to be the efforts that I put in, that I may or may not seek the benefit, because I don't even need the benefit. This is about us, So I'm glad you talked about that instant gratification.
About us as a community,
for sure.
Collective.
For
we all are here as a way to, or we should be setting the example, but for our community and for the ones that'll be coming up after us. And I want to salute you for being not just an example, but a leader.
Appreciate that.
In our community, doing a lot of great things. Reaching a lot of younger individuals and just being present.
I think I'm popping a little bit, but I know I ain't gonna be popping forever. It's because somebody out here like, man, what old talking about, dog? But guess what? If you saying that and you listen to this, I'm gonna still keep teaching, youngin, because I love you.
You're doing your thing, man. I want to salute you for that, because that's needed, especially like just like a lot of individuals they talk about, just like not having like a father figure around, and you're somebody who's being a father figure to those who don't have a father figure, or even if they do, you're someone
you can supplement it.
You're a supplement. So you doing your thing, and I want to salute you and tell you, like,
appreciate you, young. You know that, brother. You know that. You know that. I appreciate you. Appreciate
you. No problem. So before we wrap up, I want you to lead the leaders with, something to keep them going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Something to keep them going when, they feel like they want, stop doing what they doing, maybe a business or whatever. They feel like they just want to give up, give in. Give them something to keep them pushing through all the hard times.
Yep. If you're listening to this, I'm just telling you, just as a part of your DNA structure, at your core is something great, right? And don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. And then when those forces that are against you are having you to believe otherwise, just know at your core is something great, and you got an opportunity to define what that greatness is. And I'll also say, like you've probably been doing something that you've probably minimized or somebody else is paying attention to that you do. And the last sort of story I'll tell you, this old head kind of told me once. He's like, you ever heard of like, it's not what you know, it's who you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of true, but you better know the what. So you got to know something, right? Then he said, and you got to know people, right? But he said, what's even more important is who knows you and what do they know you for?
That's important.
I'm going to say that again. Important. It's not what you know, but you better know some what. Mm-hmm. It's not who you know, but you better know a couple people. Mm-hmm. Who knows you and what do they know you for? And I'm telling you, young people, at your core is something great. Just have the world know you for that.
Yeah, that's something that's important. Knowing people and then having them know you for a certain thing. Like there's plenty of stories that I can tell of individuals that know me for a certain thing, and when they come across something that they feel like I would be a perfect like match for, they do not hesitate to pick up the phone, call me, and say, yo, listen,
it's the one.
I got something I want. I need you to listen. This is the run. They give me the rundown.
Yeah.
And they be like, listen, I'm gonna lock you in with this person. This is what it is. You want to do it?
I'm on it.
Like I'm like, yeah, I'm on it. Like I'm on it. Like just having, not just being connected to people, which is something that's important, but having them know you for a certain thing. And I talked about this in another episode. I look at it like credit or like street cred. Just people knowing me for a certain thing and knowing like I have good credibility with like a lot of individuals. It helps me a lot, and that's something that's something that y'all can use in y'all everyday life. Just being credible, like people know that you good for you good for whatever. Like they just know that if they was to put you in a space, you would be able to be a representation of yourself. And you won't be a bad look on their word. Like they know they can count on you if they give another person their word and they recommend you for something. You'll be able to execute the job and do whatever.
If you're no different than if you got good credit, the bank gonna give you whatever you want.
No, really, like,
and your credit starts with that level of credibility in your character.
Yeah.
It's the same process.
The same exact thing. If you got good credit, you're gonna be able to. It's gonna take you far, man. Yeah. It's gonna take you far. So make sure that y'all stay on top of just your character and being credible with just about anybody. Like just about anybody. You never know what door somebody can open up for you. They may not even know you like exactly. They may know somebody who knows you, but they just hear about you and they like, I heard a lot about you and I would love to, have you indulge in this or, put you in this piece. And that has helped me a lot as well. Just people hearing about me and they call me like, yeah, I heard about you from X, Y, and Z. You sound like a great individual. I would love to have you come on board with this, that, and the third. Make sure y'all stay on top of your credit, man. And I'm not talking about the score. I'm talking about your character and, yourself with anybody you come in contact with, because you never know how that person can help you.
That character credit score is valuable, boy. Like, that might be a new thing, Kyle. Character credit score. We want to dub that. We got to do something with that one, bro. I like that one, young
Character credit score.
Character credit score.
Make sure y'all stay on top of that. Once again, I appreciate
Kyle, my man. Love you, youngin.
Love you
appreciate you, boy.
Appreciate you,
my man.
Talk with me.
My man.
Giving game to me and the other leaders. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to keep saying this. I appreciate every last one of y'all. You tuning in, liking, commenting, talk about it with a friend. You helping push the movement out to as many people as possible.
Old heads, when I repost this, you can no longer say young people in Philly not doing the right thing. Because I'm going to repost this. You can no longer say that. right? You got an example of a young person doing the right thing, and I'm gonna need y'all to tell your friends that so we can stop this narrative around
Yeah,
young
there's
people.
a lot of young people out here doing amazing things. A lot of them, and we not just gonna allow one or two young individuals that's not setting a good example to spoil you everything else.
At
Because
all.
there's a lot of young individuals out here who are doing amazing things, and a lot of them have been on my been on this platform, and a lot of them are coming on to the platform. So we want to highlight that. We want to highlight that so that we can push more of that out to everybody. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the motto. We'll see y'all in the next episode, man.
Salute.